Welcome to Jack Michael Show. If you like, you can subscribe our channel. You can also give it a thumbs up, and you can also like it. Today, I would like to talk about one of the great sons of Africa, and I can say one of the greatest president of our time, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda. Just to begin, I'd like to remind the world that we all know what happened to Rwanda in 1994, the genocide that took place in Rwanda, whereby over 1 million people died and thousands were, or millions were displaced, and a lot of properties were damaged. Things were bad for Rwanda, for those of us who saw this kind of genocide happening in 1994. I remember those days I had visited Kenya, and actually I was in Nairobi, and I saw by myself how Rwandanese people were coming to Kenya as refugees, and even some were running to neighboring countries like Uganda, some were running to Burundi, and many other countries. Those who could afford to fly to go to different countries like Canada, United States, Belgium, they went. Yet those who were poor, who could not, died, and some ended up losing their own relatives, losing their own family members out of this mayhem that happened in Rwanda. I remember when I was doing my research in Nairobi, Kenya, one of the ministers of the gospel in Rwanda, who had run because of the genocide, met his wife in Nairobi, Kenya for the first time. And amazingly, they just bumped into each other in Nairobi. It was a reunion that had never been seen anywhere in the world. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that Rwanda has come out of ashes. Rwanda has come out of bones. Rwanda has come out of shame. And today we are talking a different story about Rwanda. And the reason why Rwanda is where it is today is because of the leadership of President Paul Kagame. Many things have been said about President Paul Kagame, but I want to use this opportunity to speak about my own research that I have done concerning Rwanda and the result that I can see today about that country. In the year 2008, I went personally to Kigali, Rwanda, and I lived in a place called Nyamirambo just to do my research about Rwanda. And I saw how Rwanda was struggling to rise up. I saw how Rwanda was struggling to gain her position back in Africa. Almost 11 years later, today we are speaking of a different story concerning Rwanda. The infrastructure in Rwanda is something that is amazing. Rwanda is now producing a lot of their own product in that country that they are even supplying to the world and even in Africa at large. The military of Rwanda used to be very low. I remember in 1993, 1992, 1994, 1995, if you could be told that this is a military man from Rwanda, you couldn't believe. Today, if you look at their military, there is a problem that has been going on in Mozambique, whereby certain insurgents have been attacking and killing citizens in Mozambique. As we speak today, the army of Rwanda is in Mozambique to help repel and remove and uproot the insurgents in Mozambique who are causing trouble in that country. Rwanda has risen up, and Rwanda has become a shining city on top of the hill under Paul Kagame. Kagame has brought changes in that country. The unity that I saw in the year 2008 when I visited Kigali, when I lived in Kigali doing my research, this issue of tribalism, tribal war that has been bringing Africa down, is now a thing of the past in Rwanda. Many investors are running away from other countries in Africa, going to Rwanda to invest because of the mechanism and the system that President Paul Kagame has put in place to keep Rwanda going. Today, countries like Burundi, countries like Congo can just admire Rwanda. The roads have been built. President Paul Kagame has come up with great ideas that has made Rwanda to be attractive to the world. President Paul Kagame is a talented and a gifted leader, and it is good for us to speak the truth concerning what we are seeing in that country. There is no leader who is perfect. There is no country that can be democratic 100%. Every country has issues. But why can't we speak on the other side of a leader? Why can't we speak on the other side of a country when a country is moving on? Today, if you look at Rwanda, you would admire the houses that the country is building for the poor. You will admire how the country has transformed itself from being a laughingstock, from being a country that suffered shame of genocide, to a country that has unity, and to a country that is moving forward, to a country that has become a great example to the world. Let's call a spade a spade. Rwanda is moving forward under Paul Kagame. President Paul Kagame has eroded the prejudice that people had concerning the Republic of Rwanda. He has proved that it is possible for a country to rise from ashes to glory. He has proved that a country can rise from shame. A country can rise from defeats. A country can rise from her past to the future that can be an example to the whole world. If we look at the Republic of Rwanda today under the leadership of President Paul Kagame, actually, right now, I have seen, according to our research, that there are so many people, great businessmen, who are traveling to the Republic of Rwanda just to seek advice from the president on how they can copy some of the ideas to transform their own country. What we need is to see that country rising and going up and even moving up more than what we are seeing today. Because there is hope for Rwanda. There is hope for Rwanda. Many people have been speaking against that regime. And when you look at some other countries or some people who are even criticizing Kigali, they are criticizing the president of Rwanda. Some are saying he has overstayed in power, he has ruled for long. But again, we were asking ourselves, what is the point of having new president after every 5 years and yet the country is struggling? Can you hand over a country that has gone through pain like Rwanda to anybody else to rule? Those are some of the hard questions that we need to ask ourselves. Personally, if I was the president, I wouldn't allow it. Based on where Rwanda has come from, can I just take the leadership of the country and hand over to anybody else that we don't know has got good ideas or somebody else who has got good plans for the country. Changing presidents after every 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years is not the reason. That is not even the solution. You can have one man that can rule even for 40 years and the country can move ahead. I have a problem if somebody is ruling for long and yet the country is still remaining poor. The infrastructures are bad. The hospitals are bad. The roads are bad. I have a problem with that kind of a leader. But when the country is moving forward, when the country is rising, when the country is in the process of transforming itself from being an ash country to be a powerful nation like what we are seeing in Kigali, then we have no option but to speak great about that country. Rwanda is rising and Rwanda is moving ahead under the leadership of Paul Kagame. This is something that Jack Michael Shaw has appreciated. We have seen it, we have smelled it, and we have even walked there. We have a reason to speak about Rwanda, to tell the world on what Rwanda is doing to be an example to the whole world and even Africa.